Hi, Mr. Satendra. I'm doing
Hi, Diksha.
very
How are you
well. How are
doing?
you doing?
Very good, very good.
Great,
Thank you for having
awesome.
me.
Thank you for joining us. We are very much looking forward to having a great conversation with you. So, yes.
Thank you so much.
So I guess we can just, begin the session since we have a bit of audience already. So, uh,
Okay. Okay, we have
sorry?
people joining in. People have started
Yes,
joining
yes,
in, I guess.
absolutely. All right. So, hello everyone. I am Diksha.
Excellent.
I am a senior content marketer at EduFund. And today we are going to discuss about education loans, and we are going to answer all of the questions related to the student loans for your child's education. So the speaker for today's session with us is Mr. Satendra Singh, who is the Zonal Head North India at HDFC Kerala. And I'm very sure that his extensive work experience in the financial sector is going to be very beneficial for you all. So stay tuned. But before we jump into the session, we begin with the questions. I would like to introduce you a bit about EduFund. So the EduFund app is an investment and advisory app helping Indian parents save, plan for their child's education. So everything from calculating the cost for your child's education to planning and achieving the goal, your saving goal, you can access a bunch of different options on the app and make your child's dream come true. So do not forget to check out the app once the session ends, and you can also leave your questions or comments on our Instagram page. But before that, we have an exciting session for you all, and we have our expert speaker, Mr. Satendra, with us. So welcome to the session, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm sure I'll learn a lot of good things today as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm sure our audience will also learn a lot from your answers. So, when we were introducing about the topic for this session and also the speaker, which is you, we got a lot of questions from people. So we will jump into the most asked questions by people slowly. But first, I want to begin with the basic. Okay, because I am pretty sure there are a lot of people here who want to understand like the basic concept of education loans. So, my first question is, whenever someone starts to look for education loans or applies for education loans, what are the basic factors that one should, look into, be careful about?
Okay, so a couple of things which you should be very wary of or should be very aware of when you're going for an education loan or an overseas education is that A, you need to decide on the country you're going to. B, you need to decide on the course you're looking at, because in every subject there are a number of courses as well. Then you need to be very aware which college you're going to choose for that particular course, because every college may have its own USP as well. And once you are preparing for a particular college or for a particular course, be very thorough with it. Be very clear what is that your look out from that particular institute or that course is, and start preparing that way. That's A, on the student side thought process. On the loan side as well, you should be very aware, because A, there's a tuition fees. Now, when you're going to a country which is on the western region of the country, you have to be aware what is the tuition fee, what is going to be your living cost as well, because cost in these countries are also very high, especially on the living side. Then you need to be aware what instrumentation or what tools you'll require. Like you would require a new, fresh, nice laptop. You should be aware, once your admission is done, you should be aware that when are you flying, when are your ticket dates supposed to be. If you take a ticket, for example, on the last few days, it gets very expensive. You have to be very clear how early you have started applying so that your visas are coming on time. So these are a couple of basic things you have to take care of. And of course, yes, know about the country you're going to, because you have to intermingle there. You have to, adjust yourself to that country as well.
Right. Very great tips that you have given. I hope that our viewers right now have a pen and a notebook along with them so that they can actually note down all the, tips that you're giving right now. But, you also mentioned about being aware, like having clarity about the college or subject you're choosing. one thing that we also received, a question that we also received from a lot of students, that subject taking loans for different subjects. Do you think that it is sometimes difficult to get an education loan for certain subjects, whereas easier for subjects? Like, does something like this happen?
It does. It does happen to a certain extent, and that's why whenever you taking up a course in a foreign country in a particular course, you have to be aware of what is going to be the employability of that particular course, right? How is the education going to lead you to a job there, right? It's the knowledge which you're gaining. B, you have to also ensure that your employability is high, okay? Plus, that has to be of your interest. You should not take a subject which you don't even know or you're not even interested in. So these are a couple of things you have to take care of on an academic side. But when it comes to the loan side, because loan is a very strong and an important quotient, considering that the fees go as high as 50 lakhs to 70 lakhs to 80 lakhs, depending on the course and the country. You have to be very considerate about how your loan is going to get through, because that much of investable surplus or additional money in your pocket is not available most of the time with us. Even considering the forex fluctuations which happen throughout the year, or the way the currency has been depreciating all those years. So you have to be very considerate on those factors. What are the points on which you get your loan done? What are the points where you may face a rejection on your loan? What are the things you have to do to ensure that you get the right amount of loan and you don't shortchange yourself when you're getting the loan? It should not happen that your requirement was 20 lakhs, 25 lakhs only, but you pushed for 50 lakhs, right? And tomorrow that you're thinking that, why have I taken so much fund blockage, which is not required. It should also not happen that you actually required 50 lakh rupees, but you applied for 30 lakhs ki, chalo, let's take a small amount right now, right? And then when your time to prepare for your foreign travel starts, then you realize the amount is come, and then you again go back to the entire credit cycle to get your loan enhancement done. So these are a couple of things you have to be careful about, and we'll discuss in detail how to be very aware and very clear that what things are required at what point of time. So we'll discuss that also going forward.
So actually my next question was exactly about that. I think you have sort of covered it, but if you would like to add something to it, is it okay to cover 100% of your education cost by taking education loans? Or do you think that, there's an ideal percentage that people should go for so that they are not literally drowning in low debts after they complete their education?
Okay. So, no one goes into debt or something in that case, but you have to be very careful when you're applying for a loan, because students ke liye, the best benefit which they get is the moratorium as well. Especially the PG students with HDFC Credit, they get a moratorium where they don't have to pay anything upfront, or the EMIs are not entirely high. They get a moratorium where the EMIs are there, but at a very small proportion. Maybe against a loan of 25-30 lakh rupees, you have to pay only 5,000 rupees a month, which is a very small proportion. And your actual EMI starts off after your education plus one more year. So you are comfortably settled in your job for a year, and then your actual EMI starts off. So that gives you a cushion initially. Secondly, you should be also considerate enough to add up all the cost, your tuition fees, your living expenses. If you require, your travel can also be covered in our education loan, and the tools which you want to buy, maybe a laptop or something. All those things could be accumulated and bundled into our education loan itself. So we don't say that, okay, fine, if your loan requirement is 30 lakhs, I'll give you 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs. I can give you up to 100% of the requirement or the cost of education.
Right. Okay. Very well said. But before we jump into the next question, Akash here is saying that he has a query. Akash, whatever query you have, please comment here, and we will be dealing with your query right now. And not just him, but anyone viewing this video right now. If you have any questions for the speaker or for us, please drop your questions here in the comments below. And just to give circle back to what we are talking about here, in case there are some people who have recently joined us, I am Deeksha from EduFund, and today we are discussing about education loans and all the related doubts and questions that parents have for their children or students have. As a speaker for today's session, we have Mr. Satendra from HDFC Credila with us today. So please drop your questions here and we'll be addressing them. Now, jumping into the next question about education loan approval.
Yeah.
So, what are these different factors that people should be careful about while applying for the loans and going through the process? What are these different factors that, help with the approval of the loan?
Okay, so I'll just give you a basic idea on what ground a loan is approved. We look at students' background. That is, for example, I'll take an example of a guy who's going for his MS in any of the Western countries. We look at their marks in 10th and 12th and graduation, how their academic backgrounds have to be. Should not have too much of stoppages as such. That you've taken 4 years, 6 years or 7 years to complete your engineering, 5 years to complete your 10+2. Typically, average academics and above academics are said to be good. That is point one. Now, what has been your course of education? So till 12th, for example, just a rough hand example I'm pulling out. You have done your 12th from commerce. Then your graduation, you went in arts. Now you want to, do your MS in artificial intelligence, which is again a very highly technical subject. That does not give me a comfort that there's a single line of, a perpendicular being drawn to what your interests are. If someone has been working before, that's also an added advantage because an experience in India is always good considered that particular aspect. Then because the student is going to study, they'll not be earning, or whatever they earn there could subjugate their education cost as well. So we assume that the student, when he's going there, would be focused on the studies, and that's the reason we take them as a borrower, but we do not consider their earnings at that point of time. For that, we look at someone called a co-borrower. Typically, a co-borrower could be father or mother, sister or brother, any direct family member by blood who's an earning member, preferably a father or a mother. These guys should have a constant or a regular flow of income, or a healthy balances as such, or at least a balance which would be sufficient enough to pay the initial EMIs. Post moratorium, the student takes up the loan. The student will start paying on their own end, but till the moratorium is on, the co-borrower is required to pay the EMIs on their behalf, or the pre-EMIs, what we call in our end, the moratorium EMIs. So on the co-borrower's behalf as well, we look at a stable income. If someone is salaried, we just take 3 months salary slip from them, the bank statement, ITRs these guys would have, that we take across. If someone is a businessman or is a self-financing guy, or is a working professional who's not an employed guy, we take ITRs, we take bank statements for 1 year, 2 year ITR, and basis that we take it forward. So that's not a competition as such. The next important point which comes for everyone is the CIBIL scores these days. We do look at the CIBIL scores which are there, and again, I'll give you a small example. If I had a credit card in 2002 or 2003, I had some DPDs, because you get credit cards sometimes which you don't even know exist, right? So even when I found out about it after 2 years or 3 years, I closed that off. There were some hiccups there, but after that it's clear. So I'll not harp on anything and everything which has gone wrong in 2004, 2005, 6. Someone should not come across as a habitual offender. That's one thing we look at. So CIBIL scores, yes, have to be decent enough, and the basic fund balances should be there. That's what the requirement is. So if you ask me, if I am working out for loans for say around 100 students, I'm able to give loans to 60 students out of it. So my success ratio is around 60%.
You actually explained this answer very well, and actually talking about the CIBIL score and the other factors that you mentioned, there's this term that is used for education loans a lot. It's called credit worthiness. So could you please help our viewers understand the importance and advantage of creditworthiness, and also sort of throw a light into the minimum eligible credit score one should have?
Okay, so creditworthiness is something similar to
Right.
what a CIBIL score, is. You are good enough to if I'm not employed at all, I'll not have a CIBIL history, right? Plus, I'll not have a regular flow of income. A lot of guys in India, you would have been aware of work on
Yes.
cash things, right? I may have whatever cash is there in the market, I may have all those things, but on papers, if I don't have that income, my loan will not get through. That's a very common
Right.
practice which happens these days. So you should have a running income which is visible in the statements as well. That's what you call a creditworthiness. And what I was talking about, willful defaulter, you should not be that.
Okay.
And third thing is, there's nothing called a good CIBIL score or a bad CIBIL score. If I've just started my credit history, I will not have a
Right.
very high credit score because it builds up over the years, right? So I should not see DPDs or defaults, regular defaults in my payments in my CIBIL, and it should not show me any settlements in the past, or not much of the settlements in the past where I have not paid the amount, but I've settled with the bank. Bank would always like to settle because the principal should not die, right? But that reflects on your CIBIL score. So you should typically be very careful whatever you're borrowing and how you're paying that back.
Right, right. So, as I mentioned earlier, that there were a bunch of questions that came from our users, viewers. So there were these two common questions that were asked by a lot of students. So I would like to take up those questions. The first one is about co-applicants. So, students wanted to know if they can apply for an education loan without any parental involvement, or have a friend as co-applicant with Indian lenders.
Okay, so in India, a co-lender cannot be a friend. It has to be someone in the family, a relative only. So I can, if I have my brother and sister, if not parents, then I can consider my brothers and sisters. I can consider my uncle or aunt as well, but they all have to be in the blood relationship, and there has to be a proof or a chain of relationship which has to be proved across. Friends or fiancés are not allowed.
Okay, so basically legal guardians. Okay, yes. Great. One question we have here from Bhavna. Bhavna is asking, is there a way we can calculate how much loan amount are we eligible for?
So, okay, fair enough. That's a very simple way of doing that. You should know what is the requirement of the loan you have. And once I get the case, there's a department, separate department which I have, which is called the credit department. They assess your entire profile. They assess your CIBIL, they assess your incomes, they assess, all the parameters which we have. And then they tell you that, okay, fine, what amount of loan I can give you. If they can give me 100% of the loan which I had applied for, I get that. If they are not able to offer 100% of the loan, they can tell at that point of time to the student that, okay, fine, this is the maximum I can offer you, if that is okay for you or not. So it's like that. And again, as I said, it depends on the income. There's something called a concept called FOIR, which is fixed income versus obligation ratio. So if I, for example, have an earning of 100 rupees a month and I have fixed obligations which are high. So, my rentals are high, I have my, car loan going on, I've got my home loan going on, I have my fixed expenses which are above 60 rupees a month. There would always be a risk attached to it, because if tomorrow there's a problem coming at my end, I may stop giving my EMIs for the education loan. So that ratio becomes very important. What is your fixed income versus obligation ratio? Right. So that's a data which is thrown back to me once I log in the file into the system, and that's where the data comes across to me. And that's when we can tell the student that I can fund their entire course, 100% fees, including everything, or this is the maximum I can fund you across.
Okay, very well said. I hope Bhavna has received her answer. So, going back to the popular questions that we were receiving from students, another mostly from parents as well. Another question that was asked a lot was about the tax benefits of education loans. So, yeah,
Okay.
please discuss about that.
Yes. Yes. So, HDFC Credila offers you the tax benefit which falls under Section
Okay.
80E. And most of my competitors, you will not see them offering this benefit because uh, we have got that gazette from the Government of India, from RBI. So yes, we do offer that thing. And in this, what happens is, whatever interest you pay,
Right.
you get a tax benefit out of it. There are two benefits which a student gets, especially for overseas. One is this 80E,
Okay.
which I'm talking about. And there's something new which is coming, which is called the TCS. So typically, if you're going abroad, government has now imposed a tax of 5% on all the forex which is moving out, right? So for example, your fees is say
Okay.
50 lakh rupees. Government will impose a tax of around 2.5 lakh rupees on the forex
Okay.
which you're sending out. But if you're doing it on your own, now if you're routing it through me or you have taken a loan and then you're transferring it across, the taxation is only 0.5%.
Okay.
So abruptly and on the face, you save around 4.5% taxation there. Plus you get the tax benefit under Section 80E, wherein all your interest which you're paying across gets you the benefit of that. So if effectively, if you start counting that and you look at what is the effective
Okay.
payment you're making, from a rate of today's rate of around 12% or so, you actually substantially save a good amount of money. And then you don't have to bother about your EMIs going right away or not, or the amount is too high. So yes, that is the benefit which the students get across.
Okay. Well, hope the parents, watching this video live feed right now, hope they are getting great, like valuable answers from these questions right now. Akash here. Yes.
Yeah. So sorry. Again, for the parents, I'll repeat there are two benefits which they get across. A, the 80E benefit for
Right.
the taxpayer part, and the TCS benefit from 5%, it comes down to 0.5%.
Right. Okay. Thank you for reading.
As a parent, I know that problem, so I'm just telling you once again.
Absolutely. Greater knowledge comes from experience. So another question we have here, it is, do you get any loan for postdoctorate course abroad?
Okay, so again, if you break it down in what we are asking here is, we're talking about post PG or basically a
Right.
PhD program.
Yeah.
Correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. So we don't do much of PhD programs because the only problem with PhD is that you don't have an end date,
Right.
right? We don't have an end date. If we have something which has an end date, a fixed bucket, because it's a research, it goes
Right.
on for some time. We don't have an end date, so we don't know till when can we offer the moratorium, when our EMIs will start and stuff like that. So that's one of the challenges. Although there have been a couple of cases which were time-bound PhDs where we have already done the loan.
Okay.
But again, that's very
Yeah,
case-to-case
right.
basis.
Absolutely. And actually talking about case-to-case, situation. Another question we have here from Megha. She's asking, should a middle-class student with a humble background in finance, humble financial background, finance 30% of her education through loans if the source of income would generate a year or two after the degree?
Okay, so finally, let me tell to all the students here that most of the loans which are taken in India or most of the aspirants who are going abroad, the myth breaker is not the high-end peoples or the rich, super
Right.
rich goes there. A good chunk is from people like us who are typically the middle-class families of India. That's the biggest chunk which is going outside India right now. The aspirations of the country is very strong, very good. When and how do you start repaying it is primarily, as I said, there's a fixed window to it. For example, your course is for 2 years plus 1 year extra we give you so that you settle down, you earn whatever you want to earn in US or maybe a country, you start getting your
Right.
bonuses also, and that's where your EMIs actually will start off. So 2 plus 1 year, you get a comfortable cushioning position. And see, the best part, there are a lot of people right now who have started offering dollar loans as well. Why I do not like the dollar loan part is I borrow at, for example, say 80
Right.
rupees today, right? When I'm going to pay back and I'm sitting in, for example, US, when I'm starting to pay back, the dollar may hit 85,
Right.
90, 95 as well. So when I return back, right, the 25 lakh rupees which I borrowed, I'll have to shell out lesser amount of dollars to repay that loan back.
Right.
So that's one thing students should think of. So I borrowed $100,000 or $100,000 at a point of time, converted into rupees. I may be returning back only say $85,000 to $90,000 only. So that's one factor you should look at. And repayment, a student can start anytime they feel like. After 2 years, you can start paying back. We do not have a concept of any charges if anyone is prepaying as well. So you want to prepay, you want to pre-close, you're most welcome to do that. Come back to us, let us know what is that you're looking at, and we would take the money and close off the loan as well.
Right.
A lot of kids do that.
Right. So, we have almost reached towards the end of this session. So I would just quickly like to ask this last question, which was also, asked by a lot of students. And it was, as you have already sort of touched this topic about the loan repayment, do you have any tips that could help students with the loan repayment?
The good part about loan repayment is Indian students don't feel too much of a pinch because the earnings they have in these foreign countries post-education is always good. Indians do get a good pie in a foreign country. We Indians are not spendthrifts. We don't spend too much of money over there that we are running out of cash any point of time. Plus, for initial 2-3 years, you have a moratorium. So whatever you have started earning, you have a kitty prepared on those lines. And the best part is, in all the scenario is, if you look at it, I mean, if I say your EMI is say 30,000 or 40,000 rupees a month, which comes to around $500 only in a US dollar terms. So that's the way to do it. And because a lot of these countries have a bonus system, right? So a student accumulates a bonus for a year or two and repays half my amount. If something is still left, max 5 years, they close off whatever is available there. So I've not seen a stretch ever in this line. And just to give you a trivia, our NPAs, which is a non-performing assets, or the guys who are not repaying, in the other industries or in home loans and personal loans are high, but in education loan, or at least at my end, it's only 0.2%. Right. So I have not seen a student being in a foreign country facing any heat in making the payments. Yeah, so that's not a problem. What I would suggest to all the students is, a lot of students come to me, ki, bro, the loan amount is very high, should we take that amount? My point is, always take that amount, have that comfort, have that peace of mind with you, that okay, fine, you have that kitty with you. See, I'll charge you interest only on the money I have already given you. For example, you have taken a loan for 50 lakh rupees, but your initial requirement was say 20 lakhs only. So I'll charge you interest only on the 20 lakhs as of now. I'll not charge you on the entire 50 lakhs. So if you see, the build-up is lesser. It's not that risky thing for you. Plus, what happens is, if your total requirement, some kids go abroad, they start working as well there. They may not require that money. So you have taken the 20 lakhs, fair enough, use that itself. In case there's a requirement tomorrow, you need more money, you have that loan approved with you. You can always pull that money out. So have that comfort, have that amount, approved for yourself. You use it, no, you don't use it, your cost would come accordingly. You don't have to pay for the entire amount as such.
Okay, well, thank you so much, sir, for addressing all the questions, all the queries with such great detail. I am very sure that all the people watching this live feed right now have, got a lot of insights. And we actually had a lot of more questions here in the comment section, but unfortunately we are running out of time. But all the viewers who are watching this right now, we will be saving this session on our page. So please keep dropping your questions, and our team will be reaching out to you very soon. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Satendra, for joining this session with us.
Thank you so
yes.
much.
And thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. And I hope I was able to add some value today.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
You
too. All have a good day.